My family's prank humiliated my girlfriend and me on Christmas. Now, their gifts are at a children's hospital, and I'm finally free. I'm a 32-year-old guy who's always prided myself on being the dependable one in my family. The one who made it out of our small town, landed a cushy job in the big city, and came back every Christmas with arms full of gifts and pockets lined with cash. This year was supposed to be no different. In fact, I was determined to make it extra special. Little did I know, I was walking into a nightmare that would shatter my rose-tinted view of family and force me to confront some ugly truths about the people I thought I knew best. It all started innocently enough. I'd been dating my girlfriend for about a year, and I was beyond excited to finally introduce her to my family. She'd heard all my stories about our boisterous holiday gatherings, the way my mom's eyes lit up when we all sang carols off-key, how my dad's horrible jokes somehow became hilarious after a few eggnogs, and the pure joy on my nieces' and nephews' faces as they tore into their presents. I'd painted this picture of Norman Rockwell perfection, and she was thrilled to finally be a part of it. As we pulled up to my parents' house, the windows glowing warmly against the snowy backdrop, I felt a surge of pride. "Ready to meet the clan?" I asked, giving her hand a squeeze. She nodded, a mix of excitement and nerves playing on her face. "As I'll ever be. You sure they'll like me?" I laughed, kissing her cheek. "They're gonna love you. Trust me, by the end of the night, they'll probably like you more than they like me." If only I'd known how prophetic those words would turn out to be. At first, everything seemed perfect. My mom enveloped my girlfriend in a big hug, cooing over how pretty she was. My dad cracked his signature, "Welcome to the madhouse" joke. My siblings and their spouses greeted us warmly, while the kids circled excitedly, eyeing the pile of gifts we'd brought. As we settled in, I couldn't help but notice a few odd exchanges. Whispered conversations that stopped abruptly when I approached. Strange looks passed between my siblings, but I brushed it off as nothing, too caught up in the joy of being home and showing off my amazing girlfriend. Dinner was a lively affair, filled with catching up and gentle teasing. My girlfriend charmed everyone with her quick wit and genuine interest in their lives. I beamed with pride, thinking about how perfectly she fit into my family dynamic. It wasn't until after the meal, as we all gathered in the living room for the gift exchange, that things took a turn for the bizarre. Before we start opening presents, my older sister announced, an odd glint in her eye, "We thought it would be fun to play a little game." I should have sensed something was off by the way the adults exchanged knowing looks while the kids buzzed with barely contained excitement. But I was riding high on holiday cheer and maybe one too many glasses of wine. "Sure, why not?" I agreed easily. "What kind of game?" My brother-in-law produced a small box, grinning widely. "It's a trust exercise," he explained. "You and your lovely girlfriend will be blindfolded and will guide you through a series of simple tasks. It's all about building connection and having a laugh." Looking back, I can't believe how naive I was. But in that moment, surrounded by the people I trusted most in the world, it didn't even occur to me to be suspicious. Sounds fun, right? I turned to my girlfriend, who nodded hesitantly. "I guess so," she said, clearly a bit apprehensive but not wanting to seem like a poor sport. As they tied the blindfolds around our eyes, I heard muffled giggles and shushing sounds. My stomach tightened slightly, but I pushed the feeling aside. These were my family members after all. What could possibly go wrong? The game started innocuously enough. We were guided to touch different objects and guess what they were. But then things started getting weird. I was instructed to stick my hand into something slimy and cold while my girlfriend was told to bite into what she thought was an apple, but turned out to be an onion. I started to protest, but my family members kept insisting it was all in good fun. "Come on, don't be a spoil sport," my younger brother cajoled. "It's just a harmless prank." But it didn't stop there. They had us spinning in circles until we were dizzy, then tried to make us walk a straight line. They pelted us with water balloons, claiming it was snow we needed to dodge. At one point, I distinctly heard the sound of a razor buzzing near my head, followed by my girlfriend's gasp of shock. Finally, I'd had enough. I ripped off my blindfold, ready to demand an explanation, and froze in horror at the scene before me. My girlfriend stood there, mascara streaking down her face from the water balloons, a chunk of her beautiful hair hacked off unevenly. I reached up to touch my own head, feeling a patchy mess where they'd apparently shaved random spots. But what struck me even more than our disheveled appearance was the looks on my family members' faces. They were laughing, not the gentle, teasing laughter of a harmless practical joke, but cruel, mocking laughter that sent chills down my spine. What the hell is wrong with you people? I exploded, moving to comfort my shell-shocked girlfriend. My mother, wiping tears of mirth from her eyes, had the audacity to say, "Oh, honey, we were just having a bit of fun. Don't be so sensitive." Fun? I sputtered, unable to believe what I was hearing. You call humiliating us in front of everyone fun? My father chimed in, his tone dismissive. Come on, son. It's just a prank. We do this to all the newcomers. It's tradition. I looked around the room, hoping to see at least one sympathetic face. Instead, I was met with amused smirks and rolling eyes. Even the kids seemed to think it was hilarious. That's when it hit me. This wasn't some out-of-character moment of cruelty. This was who they really were, who they'd always been. I'd just been too blind to see it. All those Christmases I'd come home, showering them with expensive gifts and basking in their apparent adoration. Had it all been an act? A way to keep the golden goose happy, so I'd keep funding their lifestyles? As the realization washed over me, I felt a cold fury building in my chest. Without a word, I grabbed my girlfriend's hand and led her upstairs to clean up and change. I am so sorry, I whispered, as I helped her fix her hair as best I could. I had no idea they were like this. I swear if I'd known. She squeezed my hand, her eyes sad but understanding. It's not your fault. You couldn't have known. But I did know, didn't I? Deep down, there had always been signs. The passive-aggressive comments, the subtle put-downs, the way they always seemed to need money for some emergency or another. I'd just chosen to ignore it all, desperate to cling to this idealized version of my family. As we made our way back downstairs, my mind was racing. I couldn't just let this go. I couldn't pretend everything was fine and carry on with the gift exchange like nothing had happened. That's when I made a decision that would change everything. All right, everyone, I announced, my voice cutting through the lingering laughter. Gift time. My family perked up, greed evident in their eyes as they eyed the pile of meticulously wrapped presents. I walked over to the tree, picking up the first gift, an expensive gaming console for my nephew. This one's for you, buddy, I said, my tone deceptively light. Then, without warning, I turned and walked straight out the front door. There was a moment of stunned silence before chaos erupted. My family poured out onto the porch, shouting and demanding to know what I was doing. I ignored them, methodically loading every single gift back into my car. The designer purse for my sister, the golf clubs for my dad, the jewelry for my mom. All of it went into the trunk. You can't do this, my younger brother yelled, trying to grab a package from my hands. Those are our gifts. I fixed him with an icy stare. No, they're not. They're my property until I give them to you. And after what you all just pulled, you don't deserve a damn thing from me. My mother started to cry, playing the victim as she always did when her manipulations were exposed. How can you be so cruel? It's Christmas. Cruel? I laughed bitterly. You want to talk about cruelty? Look at what you did to your own son and the woman he loves. For what? A few cheap laughs? My father stepped forward, his face red with anger. Now listen here, boy. You're overreacting. It was just a bit of fun. You can't take back Christmas. I slammed the trunk shut, the sound echoing in the sudden silence. Watch me. As I moved to get in the driver's seat, my oldest niece, barely 10 years old, tugged at my sleeve. Uncle, please, she whimpered. We didn't mean to be bad. Don't take our presents. For a moment, my resolve wavered. The kids, at least, were innocent in all this. But then I remembered their laughter, The way they'd gleefully participated in our humiliation. They were learning from the adult's example, and I refused to reinforce that behavior. I'm sorry, sweetheart, I said, my voice softening slightly. But actions have consequences. Maybe next year, if you all learn how to treat people with kindness and respect, things will be different. With that, I got in the car. My girlfriend climbed in beside me, her face a mix of shock and admiration. As we pulled away, I could see my family in the rearview mirror, some shouting, some crying, all looking utterly bewildered that their punching bag had finally fought back. The drive home was mostly silent, both of us processing the surreal turn the evening had taken. It wasn't until we were almost back to the city that my girlfriend spoke up. Are you okay? She asked softly. I let out a long breath, surprised to find that I actually was. Yeah, I think I am. For the first time in a long time, I feel free. She reached over and squeezed my hand. I'm proud of you, you know? That couldn't have been easy. I nodded, a lump forming in my throat. It wasn't, but it was necessary. I just wish I'd seen them for who they really were sooner. As we pulled into our driveway, a thought struck me. You know, I said, a hint of a smile playing at my lips. We've got a whole car full of presents and nowhere to take them. My girlfriend grinned, catching on immediately. I bet the children's hospital would love some extra gifts this year. And just like that, a new Christmas tradition was born. We spent the rest of the evening delivering gifts to the hospital, local shelters, and anyone else we could think of who might need a little holiday cheer. As we fell into bed that night, exhausted but oddly exhilarated, I realized something profound. Family isn't always about blood. Sometimes it's about choosing to surround yourself with people who genuinely care about you, who build you up instead of tearing you down. In the weeks and months that followed, I had to deal with the fallout of my decision. There were angry phone calls, guilt-tripping text messages, and even a few flying monkeys sent to try and bring me back into the fold. But I stood firm, setting boundaries, and for the first time in my life, putting my own well-being first. It wasn't easy, and there were moments when the weight of what I'd lost, or rather, what I'd never really had, threatened to crush me. But with each day that passed, I felt lighter, freer, more authentically myself. My girlfriend, who stuck by me through it all, eventually became my wife. We started our own family traditions, built on love, respect, and genuine connection. And while there's still a twinge of sadness when I think about those idealized Christmases of my youth, I know that what I have now is infinitely more valuable. Looking back, I realize that sometimes the greatest gift you can give yourself is the courage to walk away from toxic relationships, even when those relationships are with the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally. After all, family drama is the gift that keeps on giving. But unlike my relatives, I promise not to prank you or expect expensive presents in return. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them. So please leave a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more stories like this one.